Oh, a little bit of chaos here, Megan, for a Friday. We opened Hot Topics with something that wasn't political, but kind of is, about the GameStop stock uh, situation. Uh, and so you got first up to explain it all to the ladies. Uh, and you explained the situation, which was fine. And then you get to the part where Robinhood, the app, stopped people from trading the GameStop stock, um, and somehow equated that to Trump getting kicked off Twitter, which is not at all the same. Um, that really was Robinhood changing the rules in the middle, and there should be some investigation about what they've done, because that was a very targeted and specific act that I don't think, but I don't know. They have an ethical ability to do. I'm not entirely sure. Um, but it is not the same thing as Twitter and Facebook and other social media platforms saying, we don't want you spreading misinformation and lies and hatred and violence on our platforms. Those things are, that's all well within their right to stop people from doing. Stopping people from trading on an app that's designed to help people trade does feel like they broke the bond between supplier and customer. So yeah, that is something that needs to be looked at. And there seems to be a lot of people in power that are interested in investigating that, including AOC and Ted Cruz, which is where the show got political, talking about where they, had a meeting of the minds. And you were right; that is correct. Your little assessment that there are people on both sides that are very distrusting of and angry towards Wall Street, and Sunny admitted she doesn't really understand how the stock market works. It's not really her thing. Anna didn't want to really discuss it. It was beyond her interest. She wanted to talk about Ted Cruz being a seditionist, and then you wouldn't just let that be. You had to join in again to say this is why you should care. Although after your first explanation, you asked for some excuse me. You asked for validation. Did that help? Did I do it right? Which isn't necessary. You just say that it was fine. But then when you come back, and this is why you should care and explain it, you're going through, seems to be getting towards the end of your explanation. Joy makes some sort of noise. You could hear it. And you get all offended. I can hear you laughing, Joy, assuming that she was laughing at you, which you didn't give her an opportunity to actually answer what she was doing, because as soon as she started to explain, you cut her off, and Anna tried to join in, and it got all chaotic, and you were like, just because it's a bunch of millennials doesn't mean it's not important. Nobody said anything about it being millennials. You took that as some sort of you just turned everything into, this is somehow now about my generation and we don't get enough credit or impact or validation or I don't know what the hell, but you took all of that and twisted it into somehow insulting to you when no one was doing that. And Joy actually explained she was trying to compliment you on your financial acumen, which, I mean, you did fine, but you're no financial wizard, and it's just because Joy doesn't know any of it. So, it's like my mother telling me I should do something with computers. It doesn't matter. But it was kind of like an OK Boomer moment for you, although I think Joy is the only boomer on your panel, or is she even older than boomer? Whoopi's definitely a boomer, but you could never okay boomer her because she's way cooler than you're ever going to be, or could even hope to be. And I think the rest of them are all Gen Xers, who, by the way, are not constantly looking for, hey, I matter, I matter, I matter. We were abandoned long ago. We're used to it. So, you should take some cues from your elders on that program, and stop being so darn needy. And then we get to the chief. What is Jen Bedingfield in Biden's administration? She's a chief communication something. Anyway, you got all up about again the executive orders from Biden, and she explained to you just like I did. She's just trying to undo the damage that was done, and he's trying to be expeditious about it. So calm down. But you ask your question about which is ultimately the executive order about providing funding for other countries who offer abortion assistance, and it's really just about it's releasing a gag rule. It's not sending free coupons to people across the world to say here's an abortion for you, and you get an abortion, and you get an abortion. That's not what it's just saying. You're allowed to discuss that as an option. It's taking off a gag rule about what is a perfectly viable option within women's healthcare. And you ask your question not just from the political standpoint, but as it's deep in your soul, something that you care about life. Nobody cares. That's not the point of asking the question. It doesn't matter how deeply it matters to you. That's not what your job is. Ask the fucking question. Stop making everything about you.